Imagine that feeling. Single email lands in your inbox with the subject line "We need to talk," or you're in traffic and another car cuts you off abruptly, or you post something online and the first comment is a critical one. Feel that instant physical reaction, the sinking feeling in your stomach, the flash of heat in your chest, the sudden tension in your jaw. It's like a switch is flipped inside you, and in less than a second, your entire state of being changes. A wave of anxiety, or anger, or shame washes over you. In that moment, who is in control? Is it you, or is it a force within you that acts faster than you can think? For most of your life, you have been led to believe that this reaction is you. That to feel anger is to be an angry person. That to feel anxiety is to be an anxious person. Today, neuroscience brings us a truth that is both shocking and incredibly liberating. That is not true. You are not your feelings, and understanding the distinction deep within the wiring of your brain is the first step to reclaiming your power and using this system to your advantage. To understand this, you don't need a degree in neuroscience. You just need to understand that your brain has, for the sake of this conversation, two main characters operating inside of it, a fast character and a slow one. The fast character is your feeling brain. This is your ancient, primal survival system. Its main hub is a small, almond-shaped structure deep in your brain called the amygdala. Think of your amygdala as the panicked security guard of your mind. It is incredibly fast, constantly scanning for danger, and it operates on simple pattern recognition. Its job is not to be accurate. Its job is to be fast. It is the part of you that jumps back from a stick on the ground because for a split second, it looked like a snake. It would rather be safe than sorry when a trigger happens. That email, that car, that comment. It's the amygdala that flips the switch. It screams danger and floods your body with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This is what you experience as the physical rush of a strong emotion. It's a real, powerful, and important signal. It's the alarm bell of your inner castle. Now, there is another character, the slow character. This is your thinking brain. Its headquarters is your prefrontal cortex, the area right behind your forehead. This is the most modern, evolved part of your brain. Think of it as the calm, wise CEO in the penthouse suite. Unlike the security guard, the CEO is slow, deliberate, and capable of seeing the bigger picture. It can reason, plan, and regulate impulses. It has the ability to hear the alarm from the security guard downstairs and say, "Thank you for the warning. Let me look at the security cameras and assess the situation calmly before we evacuate the entire building." Here is the neurological divide that will change your life. The signal from the outside world reaches your fast, feeling brain, the amygdala, a few milliseconds before it reaches your slow, thinking brain, the prefrontal cortex. That initial jolt of emotion you feel is the security guard reacting before the CEO has even received the report. It's a biological fact. You cannot stop the alarm from ringing. The great trap, the source of so much suffering, is that we have been trained to believe that the panic screaming of the security guard is the whole truth. We fuse our identity with that initial alarm. We don't just hear the alarm of anger. We become the anger. We don't just hear the alarm of fear. We become the fear. But neuroscience explains that you are not the alarm. You are not the panicked security guard. You are the CEO. You are the consciousness that has the ability to observe the alarm, to hear the guard's report, and then to choose how to respond. The feeling is a real neurological event. The wave of hormones is a real biological process. But the story you attach to it, and your identification with it, is a choice you often don't realize you have. So, when that feeling arises, the signal is real. But the crucial truth is, it's just data. It's a weather report from your inner world. Another order weather. You are the sky. Understanding this division is the first step. You are not a unified being who is angry. You are a complex being who is experiencing an alarm signal of anger, generated by one part of your brain, while another part of your brain has the capacity to observe it with calm wisdom. For years, you have let the security guard run the entire company. The rest of our journey is about putting the CEO back in charge. So, the architecture of your brain provides a clear separation between the fast, feeling alarm bell and the slow, thinking observer. If we all have this wise CEO in our prefrontal cortex, why does it feel like the panicked security guard is running the show most of the time? Why does this separation feel like a distant theory instead of a lived reality? This is not an accident. It is the result of years of unconscious training. You have been meticulously conditioned to fuse your identity with your feelings. You have fallen into what I call the identity trap. This trap is built from three powerful forces that work together to convince you that you are your emotions. Force 1. The power of language. Think about the words you use every day. You don't say, I am currently experiencing a cascade of hormonal and neurological signals that my brain is interpreting as anger. You say, I am angry. You don't say, my brain is generating thoughts and sensations of sadness right now. You say, I am sad. The tiny, two-letter verb, is the most dangerous word in your vocabulary. It is a linguistic trap. It is a linguistic trap. It is a declaration of identity. Every time you say I am, followed by an emotion, you are performing a subtle act of neurological fusion. You are telling your brain that your infinite, conscious self, the CEO, the sky, is one and the same as a temporary, fleeting chemical storm. Imagine if you looked at a dark cloud in the sky and said, the sky is dark. It's not true. The sky is not dark. The sky is hosting a dark cloud. The sky itself remains vast, clear, and untouched behind the cloud. But by saying the sky is dark, you equate the entire sky with a temporary weather pattern. This is what you do to yourself 100 times a day. I am anxious. I am insecure. I am insecure. I am a stressed person. You are taking a temporary state and engraving it into the stone of your identity. Language is not just descriptive. It is creative. It creates your reality. And you have been using it to build the walls of your own emotional prison. Force 2. Childhood conditioning. As children, we are brilliant emotional detectives. We are masters of figuring out which behaviors get us the results we need to survive and connect. We learn which emotions are tools. If, as a child, crying and expressing sadness brought you attention, comfort, and care, you learned a valuable lesson. The identity of being sad is a useful tool to create connection. If throwing a tantrum and expressing anger was the only way to get your parents to take you seriously, you learned that the identity of being angry is a powerful tool to have your needs met. This is not a conscious, manipulative process. It is a deep, instinctual learning. We create emotional strategies. Furthermore, the adults around us give us labels. They look at a child who feels things deeply and say, oh, he's such a sensitive boy. They see a child who expresses frustration and say, she has a bit of a temper. These labels, often said without any malice, become the costumes we are handed. And after wearing a costume for 20 or 30 years, we forget we are even wearing it. We believe it is our skin. We grow into the shape of the identity we were given. And our brain, seeking to be consistent, finds more and more evidence to prove that the label is true. Force 3, the efficiency of habit. This is where the first two forces become automated. Your brain is, above all else, an efficiency engine. It is designed to conserve energy, and the most effective way it does this is by turning processes into habits. The first time you react to criticism with a feeling of shame, your brain forges a small, new neural path. The security guard amygdala sounds the alarm, and the CEO prefrontal cortex might try to reason, but it's a new situation. Now, imagine that happens again. Nice. After the 100th time, the brain says, I see this pattern. Criticism always leads to this shame reaction. To save energy, let's just make this an automatic superhighway. It becomes easier and more energy efficient for the CEO to simply let the security guard handle the situation every time that trigger appears. The CEO becomes lazy, delegating its authority. The security guard becomes overactive and overempowered. This is not a flaw in your design. It's a feature. The brain is doing its job, automating what you repeat. The problem is that you have been unconsciously reaching the act of fusing with your feelings. Through your language, your conditioning, and your repetition, you have trained the wise CEO to sit silently in its office while the panicked security guard runs the entire company, making decisions based on fear and old patterns. This is the seed trap. It is a prison built without walls, a cage made of words, memories, and neural pathways. And the reason you feel so powerless is that you believe you are the prison. But you are not. You are the one who has the key. The first step was to see the prison for what it is. The next step is to use the key. You have seen the prison index. They have understood how its invisible walls were built from language, conditioning, and habit. You have seen how the wise CEO of your mind has been silenced by the overactive security guard. To know this is to hold the map out of the prison. Now I will give you the key. The key is not a complex philosophy or a difficult technique. The key is a power you already possess but have forgotten how to use. The power of your conscious attention. We are going to use this power to create separation between you and your feelings. We will leverage a principle that is as true in the inner world as it is in the outer one. I call it the observer effect. In the world of physics, the observer effect is the principle that the mere act of observing a phenomenon changes that phenomenon. We are going to apply this fundamental law to the quantum reality of your mind. You are going to learn to observe your feelings in a way that fundamentally changes them and your relationship to them. This practice, this tool, the THIS from our title, is a simple 3-step method. I invite you to learn it now, not as an intellectual idea, but as a practice you can begin the moment this video ends. Step 1. Label, name the cloud. The moment you detect the emotional alarm, the moment the security guard begins to scream, your first task is not to fight it, but to name it. With a calm, neutral, scientific curiosity, you simply put a label on the experience. This is anger, this is anxiety, this is shame. This act may seem trivial, but it is a neurological superweapon. Neuroscientists like Dr. Matthew Lieberman at UCLA have conducted studies using fMRI scans to see what happens in the brain during this process. They found that when a person simply labels a strong emotion, activity in the amygdala, the panicked security guard, measurably decreases. Simultaneously, activity in the prefrontal cortex, the wise CEO, increases. Let me repeat that. The simple act of putting a non-judgmental name to what you are feeling calms the reactive part of your brain and activates the wise, observant part of your brain. You are quite literally calming the storm with a single conscious word. The key is the neutrality. You are not saying this horrible anger or this stupid anxiety. You are just saying this is anger. You are a scientist identifying a weather pattern, not a victim caught in a hurricane. This is the first act of separation. Step 2. Locate anchor in the body. Your mind tells stories, but your body tells the truth. The story of he always disrespects me can spiral into an infinite loop of drama. But the physical sensation of a tightness in my chest and heat in my face is just raw, undeniable data. Once you have labeled the emotion, your next step is to move your attention out of the noisy storyteller in your head and into the silent sensations of your body. Ask yourself, where precisely does this emotion live in my body right now? Become a scientist of your inner sensations. Is the feeling in your stomach, your throat, your shoulders? Approach it with curiosity, not resistance. Does it have a size, a shape, a texture? Is it hot or cold? Is it vibrating, or is it a dull ache? Is it expanding or contracting? Don't try to make the sensation go away. Your goal is not to fix it. Your goal is to feel it completely and unconditionally. By anchoring your attention in the physical reality of the emotion, you unplug from the mental drama. You cut the fuel line to the story. The security guard is still making noise, but you have stopped listening to his panic theories and are now just observing the flashing red light on the control panel. This is the second act of separation. Step 3. Watch, be the sky. You have labeled the emotion and located its energy in your body. Now, the final and most profound step. You do nothing. You simply watch until you observe the sensation in your body as you would watch a dark cloud move across the sky. You don't yell at the cloud. You don't try to push the cloud away. You don't try to reason with the cloud. You don't identify with the cloud. You simply rest as the sky, the vast, open, aware space in which the cloud is happening. This is the hardest part, because your entire lifelong habit has been to do something about uncomfortable feelings, to suppress them, to act on them, to distract yourself from them. This new practice is one of radical acceptance. You are giving the feeling permission to exist without giving it permission to control you. You watch it with a gentle, patient curiosity. You will notice that no emotion is static. It will change. It will rise in intensity, then fall. It will shift its location. It may transform into a different feeling altogether. Your job is to simply witness this unfolding moment by moment without judgment. In this, you are proving to yourself through direct experience the fundamental truth: you are not the cloud, too big. You are not the storm, you are the sky. This three-step process, labeled locate and watch, is the practical application of our entire discussion. It is the key that unlocks the door of the identity trap. Each time you practice it, you are physically rewiring your brain. You are weakening the old automatic superhighway of emotional fusion, and you are forging a new conscious pathway of observant freedom. You are putting the CEO back in charge. You now have the key. You have the practice. But what does this unlock? What is the profound tangible advantage of living as the observer, not the victim, of your feelings? This is not just about feeling a little calmer. This is about a fundamental upgrade to your entire operating system. This is what it means to use your emotional system to your advantage. There are three great powers you will reclaim. Advantage JM1. Unshakable clarity and wise decisions. Think about the worst decisions you have made in your life. The angry email you sent, the job you quit in a moment of frustration, the opportunity you passed up out of fear, the hurtful words you said to someone you love. In almost every case, you were not making a decision. You were executing a reaction. The panicked security guard was in charge, and the wise CEO was locked out of the room. The fused mind makes decisions from within the storm, and a choice made from a place of anger, fear, or insecurity will almost always create more anger, fear, and insecurity. Your life becomes a series of damage control operations, constantly cleaning up the messes made by your reactive self. The separated mind, the CEO mind, is different. It still hears the alarm bell. It feels the heat of the anger, the cold of the fear. But because it is not fused with the storm, it can wait for the smoke to clear. It can feel the powerful urge to react, and then, using the space created by the observer effect, it can ask a different question. Given this signal, what is the wisest course of action that aligns with my long-term values, not my short-term reactivity? Your life stops being a chain of chaotic reactions and starts becoming a conscious, deliberate construction. You gain a level of clarity that is unshakable because it is no longer dependent on your mood. You can be in a bad mood and still make a good decision. This is a superpower. Advantage Chan 2, radical resilience. Resilience is not about being invincible. It is not about not feeling pain. Resilience is about how quickly you return to your center after being knocked down. When you are fused with your feelings, a negative event, a rejection, a failure, a loss can become your identity for days, weeks, or even years. The failure doesn't just feel painful, you believe you are the failure. The rejection doesn't just hurt, you believe you are unlovable. The emotion sticks to you, becomes you, and its half-life can be devastatingly long. When you are the observer, everything changes. The negative event still happens. The pain is still real. The security guard still sounds a loud, piercing alarm. But you know you are the sky, not the cloud. You feel the pain, you label it, you locate it, you watch it with compassionate attention. And because you do not fuel it with stories of identity, it does its job, and then it passes. The sky, your core self, remains untouched. Your emotional bounce-back time decreases exponentially. Moments that used to ruin your week now might ruin your afternoon. Moments that ruined your afternoon might now only ruin a few minutes. This is true anti-fragility. You become less breakable because you are no longer identifying with the things that can be broken. Advantage and 3. Emotional alchemy. This is the highest level of mastery. This is where you go beyond simply managing your emotions and begin to actively use them as a source of power and wisdom. Think of your feelings as raw, powerful data, They are like unrefined, crude oil. In its raw state, it is messy, volatile, and even toxic if you are submerged in it. This is the state of emotional fusion. The practice of the observer effect is the refinery. It is the process that separates the pure, powerful fuel from the messy, dramatic story. You are no longer just trying to survive your emotions, you are now able to use the data they provide. The signal of anger becomes pure data about a boundary that has been violated or a standard that has not been met. You can then use that refined energy to calmly and clearly protect that boundary or to take disciplined action to solve the problem. The signal of fear becomes pure data about something you are not prepared for or something you value that is at risk. You can use it to plan, to practice, to learn, to strengthen your position. The signal of sadness becomes pure data about what you truly value and have lost. You can use it to grieve consciously, to honor what was important, and to connect more deeply with others who understand loss. You become an emotional alchemist. You take the lead of raw, reactive feeling and you transmute it into the gold of wise, conscious action. The goal is not to fire the security guard. The amygdala is a vital part of you that is designed to keep you safe. The goal is to build a new relationship between the guard and the CEO. A relationship of respect. The guard sounds the alarm. The CEO listens, thanks him for his vigilance, and then, with all the information at hand, makes the final decision. This is the advantage. You stop being a war zone and you become a well-run, collaborative team. You are whole. And so, our conversation ends, but your real practice is just beginning. I like to think of this space below the video, the comments, not as a section for opinions, but as a kind of bonfire on the path. A place where those of us who have shared this time can leave a small spark, a sign of the decision made. Perhaps the name of that old feeling you are no longer willing to be defined by. There is nothing to prove, only a journey to begin. It will be incredible to see this space fill, not with comments, but with intentions. With the first acts of liberation.